Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here. I'm going to try to stick to the game this episode. Last episode ended up being too much of a tirade by me. Sorry about that. Just get things on my mind, thinking about history and mistakes we keep making. We as people, humans, keep making over and over. Okay, the Wilhelm Gustloff is finished. Good. Or we can see inside. Just like I talk about, this is one, if not the first, sort of modern cruise line, as opposed to a transatlantic liner. Basically, in the sense, like I said, I do believe they had different classes of cabins for sure, but it is a more or less equal access to all people of the pools, of the dining rooms. You didn't have like special first class pool and a special second class pool or something with everybody else. So this helps popularity and party organization. Government repression, we're going to continue to appease them because that's what Germany did, and I think it's a good policy. Yes, air bases in southern Germany, part 2. So we want to come here. All these at the top. Just keep remembering to do that, people. This is part of the reason why some of this doesn't work well with the AI. I caution sometimes people, not that it's not for me. I don't know if these events fire and how they may just stick them on the map or something for the AI. And but Third Reich events is definitely coded, and I definitely have had players who play other nations while Third Reich events is going on, other nations than Germany. But sometimes the AI has trouble with these things, and one of the reasons I know I do things like this, now this isn't my event, this is I believe just your standard Black Ice event, is that by putting them in the production queue you actually get practicals, which helps in producing factories and other things. So if we just stuck some of this stuff on the maps, you don't get the practicals doing that. So that's why we do it, and humans can handle it. Okay, we'll give you a little money for rare materials, and yes, not badly. Okay, that may actually sort of... Oh. We lost an effect there because we're appeasing them now again. That effect sort of goes away, I think, for a few days. Okay, now, okay, Cuba. No. The Condor Legion. I know I've talked about this before. Primarily, as maybe the word condor, the bird, talks about, it. It was an air operation in Germany to support the nationalists. There was a ground group, which that's sort of their group symbol for the ground, the army badge, that was maxed out about 300 men for the army at any one time, and most of it was not in combat units. Most of it was training in that. So probably about 150 men at any one time were ground combat doing. It was a very small naval contingency, much larger German naval element that was part of the, shall we say, international naval observer force that sometimes was trying to be a blockading force, sometimes just sort of observing things going on. Lots of German ships were operating down there, and so this fires sometimes after the end of the war. Now, Italy sent in, I think it was about 3 divisions, true full army divisions, worth a lot of other support elements. So they had 40,000 men in the ground element going on at any one time. Much bigger, and they were very open about it. You can see magazine covers, articles, all during the Spanish Civil War, talking about Italy's active involvement in the Spanish Civil War, where Germany never talked about it publicly. It was kept very private. It wasn't until the war was over that then they hold this big grand parade with all the veterans sort of there. So they all get in their sort of special brown uniforms. That's Hitler there. These are a version of the uniforms, but they got special parade issue uniforms for the parade, and it included a lot of the people that had were, these wasn't just the people returning from Spain for this parade. These were both ground and air. I'm sure there may have been some naval people in the parade, but these were mostly ground and air personnel. But a lot of them had maybe served in 36 or in 37. Now, the parade happened in 39 when the war was over. And so that people had may have been a year or two out of their service in the Civil War, that got the uniforms and went on the big parade to sort of show it. And it was only, like I say, only after it did the victory did Germany come out and very publicly support or acknowledge their role in the war. So we will get a bunch of national unity, a bunch of modifiers and training for that. And that was a big training ground for Germany. It really did help them. One of the things that sometimes mistakenly talked about in the war, the Battle of France, but the first use of the Flak 88s, the Flak 18 specific models, as a ground anti-tank function was in the Spanish Civil War. So they knew about using those big 88s as ground units before they even started the invasion of Poland. Okay, Edmund Schutzless wants to meet with Hitler. The former president of Switzerland, Edmund Schutzless, asked for a private meeting with Hitler. We can agree to the private meeting or not. So this helps out the FDP organization. Now, of course, we are actively supporting the NF, the National Front. Don't know what exactly the FDP is. I'm guessing it's a centrist political movement. We'll give them the prestige of showing up. This is from the D-Worms. Okay, so he gets his meeting. Hitler enters Vienna. Somebody's firing off fireworks outside. Oh, interesting. Hitler's journey through Austria became a triumphal tour. Climaxed in Vienna. Okay. Again, you see the guys in white shirts lining it. Those would be the SA men, most likely. Okay, so we're gaining popularity, organization, national unity. Reorganizing the Austrian police command structures. Yes, the ORPO set up in Austria. Good. Kriegschule Wiener Neustadt, Vienna New State. Okay, all Wehrmacht officers in World War II passed through a Kriegschule during their training. The Wehrmacht had 5 Kriegsschulen in Potsdam, Dresden, Munich, Hanover, and after Anschluss in Vienna Neustadt. Officer candidates known as Fahrenjunkers undertook an extensive 8-week course aimed at giving them good knowledge of the basics of command. After completion of the course, the officer candidates moved to his chosen Truppenschule, or branch of service school. Okay. Yes, we could decide not to do it, but I think we're willing to spend that, gain the officers, and gain a little bit of tax there. And supply production, it has advanced. Very good. So we will stop that. Okay, Air Force HQs have advanced, and they advance more quickly because of events. Okay, let's start looking that up. Okay, Philip Holzman, West Wall work. Again, coming from some of my research, is one of the major private companies working with the organization TOT as it's being formed in building the West Wall. Commemorative medal they had struck. We've seen them build other things, including the Autobahn and other stuff outside of Germany. So yes, all of this is doing that. Okay, also here, this is also the formation of the organization TOT. A great idea. Yes, we want to do this. Now realize at this stage we still don't have a West Wall. So if we were going to war with are we so far ahead of? Oh, giant infrastructure project. Oh, that probably jumped up because of attack. Good. And study for Air Force HQs. Yes, we want this. And we want road networks level 3. Now that road level also jumped up because of text, probably Philip Holzman or somebody, or some of the other ones that we were just getting there. Organization TOT or something. I just don't need to push it in advance because we got plenty of 38 text still to make the air ones to research now more efficiently. And we already have a good small fuel tank. Research helped out. Okay. And again, here we're looking at no real national unity bonus going up for this level of road network, but organization regain rate is useful for keeping our units fighting. Okay, armored fighting vehicle track suspensions, and which allows us, we're going to go first with medium armor designs. Are we still okay? Bringing in lots of steel. Okay, we're looking for exporting of coal, Finland. 13, that isn't much. We're having a plot of deficit here. Bulgaria. Well, those are all people I want to become more friendly with, so I'm going to let those go on. There will be, I do believe, a few more events coming up that should expand our coal capabilities. Yes. I'm glad like that Romania happened, because I do want it in the green. But I'd much rather be helping out Romania than the US or the Soviet Union. All of that. watch this, but yeah. Not absolutely sure that we are keeping up with production of ground units, though we're doing pretty well. Though the biggest thing I'm seeing is maybe mechanized forces. But by getting all these ICs, I mean we can churn them out a lot of stuff. Okay, and yes, some heavy artillery, and okay, yes, we want to do that. That would be this thing here, I believe. It's going to go bye-bye. Yeah. And did that go into production, or did it go into the... Yes, it went into here. And we're definitely moving this to the top. And... we like the artillery. Now... I'll just put these... Siberia, money, rare materials, decline at the moment. Okay. So, Germany seizes Otto's property. Well, at the time of Anschluss, and before, Otto, the Archduke, of the Habsburg Archduke, had been living in France because he's basically banned legally of some sort from being in Austria or Hungary. Both, well, maybe Hungary, I don't know, both nations did have a desire to have him back. No, I agree that Austria wasn't really pushing to become back a monarchy at this time, but that doesn't mean that he wouldn't be welcome in his country. It was more of a fear of returning of the Habsburg Empire by Austria's neighbors. Similarly with Hungary, who was theoretically a kingdom that he could have come back as being king of Austria, and not as the Habsburg Kaiser. But so he's living in Austria at the time, or in France at the time of Austria's rejoining, and Hitler confiscates all of his property in Austria that he still owned as an individual. So, which are some supposedly significant estates and houses and other things like that. So that's gone. Okay, Großdeutsch Reich Stowag. Well, bloody hell. The election of 1938 were delayed plebiscite over the Anschluss of Austria. The NSDAP was the only party allowed to participate, and the voters were no longer secret. The NSDAP gained 98% of the votes. Ballots were marked, were counted, or ballots not marked were counted in favor of the NSDAP. There was one major, I think he may be Catholic, but one major prelate in either the Protestant or the Catholic Church in Germany didn't vote for this, and got in a lot of trouble, caused a lot of trouble and whatnot for doing so. And his objection was not voting to approve Austria coming in, which he actually did and stated he did. It was he could not vote for Hitler and the NSDAP. And so the German people really, or the German government really put this out as a vote to approve of Austria, but it was also trying to show to the German people and to the world as a vote for the NSDAP and Hitler in particular. So, popular elected, and so really didn't like so they have a choice in that part. There was a lot of negative elements, so which rubbed some of the people the wrong way, as part of it was the church going on with some of the stuff. Okay, the last one was mine. This is a pretty cool event image. I'll tell you that. I quite honestly don't right offhand. I did scroll through both German graphical augmentations and Units of the Third Reich. I think this is GGA, because mostly what Units of the Third Reich is more unit focused does. I mean, this is quite honestly a better picture, though mine's a little more starker and showing that, but I sort of like that. Yeah, yes, no, but good work. It was immediately effectively held. Okay. It was neither fair nor secret. Okay, well, you cover the essentials, but I really wish you hadn't added this long after my pre-existing event there. And this is what we talk about this, our mods. I think that was to some degree added after mine, because I've more or less, though I may add a few more events now that I'm playing this, more or less stopped making events for Third Reich events, but I really wish, just for compatibility's sake, that they wouldn't do that. And it's not that, oh, I'm so great, because I just acknowledged they did a better job. Revolver Held, I believe, did a better job with his image than I did, and his text did at least cover some of the important points, that it was not a secret and it was not a free fair election. So you're covering the essence, and even if you're doing it better than me, that's fine. I guess the main problem I have is and technically both mods are compatible, meaning they're not causing crashes, but we should only have one of those events. And and I'm open if any one of the other sub-modders want to come to me and go, my event is better than yours because, and they give reasons, I'm probably going to go, yeah, sure, let's cut mine, because it's easier to, and when the next update comes, it's easy for me to cut an event. Much easier than me adding something, but just cutting an event, and I would be open to that. So it's not any sort of got to be my event, but it just pre-existing, and wish you didn't even have minor conflicts like that of double things happening. But that's part of the reason we're playing this game, is to show you what's going on, so you can better understand. Monumental architecture has advanced. That's the thing that I think we just closed off, or oh, it's this one as well. Okay, as opposed to giant infrastructure project. This just has 4 levels, and this 6 is why this is going across faster or more. Okay, so we gain some ICs, lose some resources going into our monumental infrastructure. And since that is no longer being researched, yeah, let's go with both 39. Heavy bomber prototype, which will probably open up those. These will open up that. Yeah. Oh, we've achieved very high popularity, mostly because of those double events, but yes. And definitely getting in that. Okay, yes, and give them money for rare materials. How much money are we bringing in? No. Okay, yes, but I want to see if I can say split, because I want to get money up enough so that we can do some major national improvements. Oh, we're impossible in selling supplies? Well, will the Soviets buy supplies? No, maybe I shouldn't have done that then. I don't know. They've got lots of money. Maybe they'll buy supplies. No. They've got lots of money. Maybe they will. Oh, okay. Good, 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 good. 16, that sounds about right. I took me a little while, a long time ago now, but it took me a little while to come up with some rules for some of the images and things we will show. And I definitely wanted to show the propaganda going on at the time. But I decided not to show propaganda that demeans, if you will, powerless people. And some of the Jewish stuff is very, very hateful. And it's not that I wouldn't or shouldn't show it. There is reasons to sort of show you how hateful some of that was, but I really don't want to show the propaganda because it's an education reason to do a good reason to do so, but it is demeaning of people. And so why, and I've used some and not too much now, but like some American propaganda against the Japanese that makes racial stereotypes and very negative against the Japanese. Why I would use it and wouldn't use the stuff on Jewish stuff. And I sort of had to look at the different posters. The posters that I would use made by the Americans are all racial, squinty-eyed type characters of the Japanese, but the guys are carrying rifles with bayonets, meaning these are people that are armed soldiers, or they're making fun of Hitler, a political person of power. So if you have a poster that's making fun of Churchill, a person of power, I would use it. Okay, if you were making fun of FDR as a person, and I've collected some of this stuff for future use, I would use it because it's either a person of power, a political power, or a soldier. But if it's just making fun of a basic civilian, a basic citizen, a basic person, I wouldn't use it. So if it was a U.S. poster, and I've not noticed any that make fun of racial stereotypes of the standard Japanese citizen, very racially motivated characters and stuff against Japanese soldiers, or sailors or whatever, but not that I've seen, at least, against the people. So that's sort of my where I draw the line. If it's just of normal sorts of people that they're demeaning, I won't do it. But if it's political leaders or military leaders, because I got a bunch of stuff that makes fun of Hitler or Mussolini or the German soldiers that I'm going to do for my American or British mods, posters and magazine covers and things like that I'm definitely going to use, at the right times for the right mods. But they're making, again, fun of the soldiers or the political leaders. So that's sort of how I do this. Now this is of the demeaning stuff you might want to call black propaganda, in that it's negative towards somebody. I've not really seen inside of any of these Volk und Race magazines, but these were, at least from the descriptions of them and the covers, are a sort of positive propaganda of the Nazis, and showing beautiful people on the covers of magazines. And obviously you go into any modern store in America, and when I was traveling around Europe, you'll see very similar things, though often mostly racially mixed, on various beauty magazines and fitness magazines and whatever to this day. So that sort of struck me, is that there was a similarity. Now obviously Here there is a two differences. One, they focus purely on the German race as they see it, or the Nordic race, or the Aryan race, or whatever you want to call it. And two, it is connected with a sinister eugenics program. Now, the eugenics program of this time is more selective breeding of the 19th century farmer, as opposed to a eugenics program of toying with the human genome, the DNA, and to make better humans. But so it's sort of a primitive eugenics project, and so it's not just highlighting good examples. It's the undertone. We talked in earlier episodes about the euthanasia program. We could easily start to see undesirable people not being allowed to, being sterilized and things like that to genetically manipulate the race. So that has to be, that context, the negative context, and you can read the details here, has to be kept in sight with this. So, okay, good. Our trade, we've also expanded popularity to very high, so we have more research capabilities. So let's do twin energy armament research, since we can now. Oh, we have even more. Okay, didn't really look. I figured it'd just be one. Well, it's 1.01. Okay, hardly any, but might as well use it. Yeah, we'll start close air support. And oil refining advanced. Very good. And we want to stop that. Well, we don't want to, but we need to. Now, a lot of these support. Let's do machine gun. Good, that Japanese trade just kicked in, it looks like. And you see all the various benefits and negatives going on from various things, various programs. Some will go away. Some will stay around, I think, for a good long time. Okay, this is another event covering the National Front in Switzerland. Not you can read the details. No, we're not going to do all of this. So I think, like I've told before, a lot of those events now, I don't know if that particular one, you get a chance, you get an option to put more resources into supporting the parties it goes on, with a variable chance of success. Well, success or bigger success is mostly what that does now for the Hearts of Iron 3 mass event. So advanced. Not that Germany doesn't already have, just because of the Nazis. Well done, mass events. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Good, we want to keep going up. Okay, naval HQs and decryption machines. So we've got that for now. Good stuff, and we will, but just not yet. Area lines, there we go. We want to do that. And Decryption machines. We want to cancel. Come on, we're lagging. Hold on just a second, I'm going to click off here and close a different program I have running. Click free up a little resources for the computer there. Okay, well, just checking our 38 technologies. Still a few more to do here, but I'm thinking we're getting most of the important ones. Good. Gun turrets, we want to do that. What is this? Okay, good. They're up here. Okay, good. Oh, so that would be east. So what I want to do here is see if I can ship them to Ost Prussia. Yeah. There we go. We're now lost our improved benefits, but we got more leadership there. Just 1%. Because we already had 1%, but that should make those events that I don't like, the political events, the random ones, much more likely to come out in our favor. And broadcasting advance. That's another one. We need to build up all the money for. Attack ammunition capacity, yes, that's good. What else do we have? Yeah, that looks like universally good. And, well, fuel consumption range down a little bit, but I guess we'll start with that. Self-sealing fuel tanks. Basically, my understanding of that is it's mostly just a, wow, a rubber liner on the inside that, let's see if we can sell them some fuel. It's fuel, I believe, so, no, we don't want to buy fuel. Oh, okay, you'll buy some supplies now from me, will you? No, it isn't the full amount, but I'd rather have an amount that they don't decide to cancel in 3 weeks or something and just have it consistently good there. Even though it's not enough to get rid of, but we'll no longer receive the money for, well, the 50 supplies. Okay. Yes. Okay, this gets back to some of the stuff. Car for everybody. Industrial capacity. What is the industrial capacity? There's been a lot of events in here. This is definitely going to put them over. Okay, so we're going to get 4 more, and it says we'll no longer have strategic resources, which is actually the opposite. We will get a strategic resource, to the best of my knowledge. Military Academy we already have there. That's why you have the blue stripy thing. Now, we are base IC is a 320, 460 with all the various effects. So 324. What I want to see is I know it'll keep just saying 7, but let's see if it goes up by 4. See if overclocking, if you will. This. I don't know why the black ice event gives so many ICs that for the SS leadership school. It gives a bunch of events to Brunswick, as that's in English. I know why I put it there is because that's where at this time in 38 they were building the huge plant to build the Volkswagen, the KDF wagon. Now, basically the Kuba wagon, the German Jeep, if you will, was the same basic vehicle. They had built some in the Volkswagens, and some were actually sort of militarized, and some photos of that were used. I've seen, but most of it, the body obviously is different, but the basic engine, the wheel system, the frame, the drive system, all that's the same between a Kuba wagon and a Volkswagen. So this becomes a extremely useful military factory for Germany's motivations or motorization. So it's going to cost us way too much metal, a lot of energy, quite a bit too much now that we are with all these other events, because a lot of other modders have followed my suggestions of using that stuff. So I may get motivated enough to go in and change some of that at some point. Should be less now. When I originally did it, I thought it was good just because we needed to make Germany need resources, but see, now we're zeroed out there. Okay. We are now a captain of industry, and although it's red because of this, whatever's going on, it says 0 effective, but we did get a full jump of 324. So even though this says, well, it does say 11 now, so okay. Some of the ones I thought had gone to more than 10. It does say 11. Okay, so that's what's going on there. We will no longer receive money for supplies, damn. And money for supplies. Okay. The Deutsche Colonial Zeitung, and this was a publication by the Reich Colonial Bund, talking about the lost colonies, but also about other topics as well, dealing with that. This will improve relations with South Africa. Now, we talked earlier about how, and there's multiple reasons, but Hitler was anti-Austrian in the sense that of Austria as a separate country. He was not anti people of Austrian descent, but anti the idea of Austria is separate from the Germans. So he was also very anti-Habsburg, because Habsburgs have long, from their earliest days, have been multiculturalist, if you will. They weren't people trying to triumph German culture around the world. They were trying to essentially rule over many cultures, and look at the Habsburg empires at different times, including Spain and the New World and other places. So they were big into that, and they very much, as we've talked earlier about, trying to make Vienna a sort of multicultural city of its time. So Hitler was very much wanting to bring down Otto and confiscate everything he could. But Hitler wants to pay the ex-Kaiser's bills living in Austria. He does not want ever a return of the Kaiser, but he does not want to... well, some of the Kaiser's children are high-ranking Nazis. He does want to have the close connection to the Kaisers. He does not want to have the Kaiser ashamed or in any way not able to pay his bill. He wants them to live well. So, but he wants them to stay in exile, basically. So that's the Kaiser at the time period of this. in 38. Like, this was a major party rally. You can see the huge crowds tried to show not just all the marching people, but the people watching. This is in Carlsbad, which is basically there. Of the Sudeten Germans going on. Inside again, you can see, yes, it's not nearly as the big Nuremberg party rallies or something, but then again, we're not talking about that population. But so it was a very popular movement continuing on at this time. And also the Volksbund der Deutschen in Ugen in Uruguay, not Uruguay, excuse me, Hungary. Obviously, we were just talking about the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Austria left a lot of German communities, not just individuals, but communities within Hungary at the time. And so this is a group that formed up, and we have the chance. That is a swastika there, if you don't realize it. It's just a swastika with the arm turned, and there's a little gap there, and then the arm turns around there. So it's not a cross or an X or whatever on a wheel, like sometimes modern neo-fascists, which, keep this very short, I'm really upset when modern hate groups decide to use traditional cultural signs and appropriate them for their own. The Celtic cross, I feel sort of emotionally connected to the Celtic Church, being Scottish and wanting to sort of promote a different view of Christianity than the austere Presbyterianism that's found in Scotland. I just don't like that dour Presbyterian view of religion, and I think it's unnatural to the Scottish people. Obviously, everyone's free to have their own beliefs, but I just don't like that. And nor do I am a big fan of the Catholic Church, in that it's overly structured, I think unnatural in ways. Basically, priests and nuns being celibate and things like that, I feel that is unnatural. I know it goes back into early Christianity, and we're not here to talk about that, but some of that stuff I reject. Not that I don't think I'm showing any anti-Catholic basis. It's just a viewpoint that I don't think is religiously right. So that's why I look to the Celtic Church, which is somewhat Irish but also Scottish, as being a sort of a different sort of Christianity type view. But a lot of the neo-Nazi groups, because it sort of kind of looks like a swastika or whatever, are using the Celtic cross as its political symbols, which I hate. I also hate that I don't know if I've told this before on the channel. I think I have. A friend of mine who was in the Navy back in the 1990s, in uniform, said to he was an officer in the Navy, said to his other officer in the Navy that he was friends with, the guy asked him, "Oh, you want to grab dinner on the way home or something like that?" He says, "No, I got to go to my clan meeting." And the guy stops him. "What?" And the officer was, of course, white. The other officer was black. And the guy would look, my friend sort of, I guess, looked at him and he goes, "Oh, no, not that kind of clan meeting. No, spelled with a C, because we were both involved in a Scottish clan, which is spelled with a C and not the K of the Ku Klux Klan." And so, oh no, it's because, and he had up in his Navy office a lot of Scottish stuff. Oh, you mean your Scottish group? Okay, yeah, and it's just a Scottish cultural group that isn't hateful, it isn't racist, it isn't any of this stuff, but the term clan, and then the in America, which now of course they often do it as an intimidation factor, or almost always do it as an intimidation factor, and often do it as an attack onto somebody's front yard or lawn, is burning a cross. Well, burning a cross in and which this is all taken from Scottish culture, the Críoch Tarrá, the fiery cross, is sort of the symbol of danger. They would have crosses up at high points around a clan's territory, and just of a basic wood. It wouldn't necessarily be a fancy Christian style cross, just a cross of wood up there that people could see. And in times of danger, a raid or something, someone would run up and light the thing on fire, and everybody could see a fiery cross that is a time of danger. Or if a person was sent as a runner to go warn other people, and so people as he runs through the valley could see, he would carry a cross of wood with red cloth tied to the end to sort of simulate a fiery cross. Couldn't run around with a fiery cross. So in the Scottish sense, a fiery cross is sort of a warning of danger, but it isn't a hate symbol. It isn't connected with the Ku Klux Klan. So in my Scottish traditions, those have very different meanings. So I'm displeased that a lot of modern I don't wear jewelry, or necklaces or whatever, but if I were to wear a Celtic cross nowadays, people might think I was somehow supporting neo-Nazi movements, and I just don't like that. I wish the swastika was an ancient symbol, but it was basically nobody used it until the coming of the Guido von Listen, the early German extremists, and then as a sort of a good luck symbol used by German soldiers in World War I. So the Nazis used it. Obviously, it was also used, and I'm sure it does. I know it does upset particularly Buddhists, but also, or not Hindus, but also some Buddhist groups who continue to use the swastika in the East. But in the West, did not have a context. So neo-Nazi groups, go make up your own new stuff. Don't go taking the traditionalist non-violent, non-hate symbols and trying to turn them into yours. Be creative. But yeah, so that Hungarian thing is okay, we will give you supplies for money because we want to do this. Now, the reason we're getting a little bit of positive here is because we can't export, so I've got to stop all of my coal exports. So that's the screen. Probably should have stopped it before, but we had a fairly large reserve until that event that I made took them away. Okay. Yes, we'll give you money for supplies. Okay, now we're at least somewhat. Okay, nav ground crew training advance. Now, of course, some of these text will also, we can see here, hard we're minus 10%, manufacturing minus 1%, but mining plus 10%. So that's equaling out there. Okay, I do think there's at least one more Third Reich event that expands the coal, but it may be a year away from now. It's part of the 4-year plan. Okay, nav ground control training. Cancel that. Shift that down here. Okay, we've got that. So let's see. Yeah, supercharger. That'll make our fighters much better. Now let's see if we can sell some more supplies to the U.S. We canceled our big one. 30. We'll keep it there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, we didn't think Yugoslavia would last, did we? Hmm. Well, let's see what we can do with the Soviet Union. Will they buy any supplies from us? We've got a little bit of money. That'll help. Well, now Stalin's killing off the fleet officers. Don't know really why that particularly happened. Seeing as how the fleet doesn't have much sailing capacity into Moscow. Coal to oil conversion, that is very useful. Keeping our fuel running. And new monumental buildings for the nation. Yes, we want that. Air bases for southern Germany. Yes, we want to do that. And of course, some of the reasons we're using a lot more of this is all these ICs were. Okay, well, no thank you. We're going to wait for some of these others to become available once these. Good enough. Resources. Money will get us a studio, but I don't want the studio particularly. I might take it as the last thing, but... yeah, that'll be useful. Now, who else can we sell supplies to, if any? They're still grayed out. Well, they got a little bit of money. What is... Sweden? Not enough money. Romania. Lots of money now there. Japan. A lot of money. They got a surplus of supplies, but... let's see if they'll buy some. Okay, they will buy some. That'd be good. Peru. Okay, yep. I should have to. Okay, Schussness meeting with Hitler. Okay. Edmund demands an assurance that the German Empire would respect the integrity and neutrality of Switzerland at any time. Okay. Let's see, if we agree to this, we get a non-aggression pact with Switzerland. Or no, we get a non-aggression pact with Switzerland, which I think lasts for a year. Relations with Switzerland change to by 15. Germany loses threat on Switzerland. We lose in dissent, which is nice, which I think we're getting ready to have the getting closer to getting the Sudeten land. Gains of neutrality, loses descent, Switzerland, or no. Well, I don't plan at this time for the next year or so invading Switzerland. I don't plan on even going to war. So yeah, we'll reassure them that we're not invading. Trust us, we'll never invade you. Of course we'll never invade you. Yeah, and I'm not currently planning on it, though I'm not for sure that I'm not going to. Okay, so now we're 60-40 instead of 50-50. Money, we can use greater money. Territorial pride, recruiting time would be nice, but yeah, we're going to go with money again. Hopefully that will be a positive thing. Okay, let's see what happens here. Don't see clearly. Well, cake, yeah, minus 30%. It hasn't kicked in yet. Okay, well, first I want to... Okay, let's look at the strategic effects. Okay, which will eat up a lot of our money, I believe, but maybe not too badly. I don't know. Okay, heroic tales, news and politics. Well, national unity would be nice. Happens either one. Organization regain. Ruling party support. So I would love to have very high. Diplomacy. No. News and politics, good. And yes, we will do that. Rare Crest 2. This is the second stage of mobilizing the German army. So yes, expand the system. We want to do that as well. Yes, you can have some supplies. Standard Oil and IG Farben. The agreement between Standard Oil and IG Farben in the late 1920s aimed at creating a world monopoly on synthetic rubber. In 1938, Standard Oil provided IG Farben with its new butyl rubber process. This technology was critical because Germany had no natural rubber, and thus the German ability to fight depended on synthetic rubber. This will expand the Horch AG facilities in Frankfurt. It will also let Standard Oil expand their facilities. So the U.S. will get some benefits from this, as well as we will, or we can decide not to do it and hurt our relations with that. So both nations are helping each other fight World War II. Basically, that's what this is doing. And so we're going to do business with America. And this very much helped out. Here. Yes, very much helped out. So, oh, where is it? Over here? I don't know, somewhere, whatever. Too many Frankfurts. What technology are we? Welded plate armor. That would be it. 1940 levels. We don't need that right now. And no jet techs yet. What we should be doing. Don't know if they've improved. Oh, we won't do that. If they've improved things, but basically, last time I was playing, you know, obviously a much older version of Hearts of Iron, but small arms increase to 4. If I understood correctly, and I may not have the understanding correctly, it really wasn't worth doing jets, just because they never really put in the effort to make jets what they should be, and just upping regular aircraft that you're already, you know, researching would do as good or almost as good. At least that's my understanding of the situation. Now, they may have improved it. I would love to know that they did. The jets are critical. Only for rare materials, and no. No, I want to increase this up some more. I want to get steel and coal so I can do something other than the damn movie studio. Goebbels is going to have to wait for his movie studio. His super movie studio. Okay, naval bomber prototypes have advanced. Great. And likely grayed out. Yes, okay. Now we're going to continue increasing some of these techs here. And the RKB, right, Colonial, calling it is just informational. Again, showing you what's going on, pointing you towards the colonies. You would only be getting those if you supported the thing, so it's part of the event chain. Okay, this trip, and there's been some conflicting things. This would be the sort of big, there was, I believe, an earlier one in March. I got it down for the other one. There's been some, in my opinion, confusion on my part of the different trips that Hitler was making. This is sort of the big final trip that Hitler makes to Italy to get Mussolini's approval for getting Austria into the Reich. So obviously it didn't, we got it in early, but whatever. You could still travel at this time as a thank you tour instead of a begging to let us have Austria tour. It wasn't begging to have Austria, no, but it was trust us, we're not going to invade you if we have a common border, and we're not going to demand German-speaking territories from you or other things like that kind of thing. 8 million bayonets, okay, that should help Italy. I don't think Italy ever had 8 million bayonets. I don't think Italy could make 8 million bayonets. Steel production advance, which will help this out incredibly. And, you know, as I'm thinking about it here, probably you're screaming at me, I should be doing the coal processing thing because we're having such a problem with coal. So we will do that now. Normally I'm just not used to having any problems with coal. Because normally we have such a huge, you know, reserve of it. So keep that in mind. So I should have been researching that before and it would have come about by now. Okay, we would give them energy for money. Well, right now we don't have enough energy, so we have enough money. So no. Okay, road networks have advanced. Road networks have advanced, so it would be this technology. Oh, sorry. Here, we want to stop that for now. Okay, which will help. We talked earlier about these radios have advanced, which is very good. We're going to shove that because we want to get that to the aircraft. Make it more expensive to build, but much better operating. Aero engines have advanced, and I think that gets grayed out. Yes. We're doing most of the 37 technologies that we want to do for that, and flying boat prototypes. Okay, good. So that will continue to allow us to shift to submarine research. Or other small ship classes 36. We will do that. Other countries' research. Okay, well, I think at this point we're going to end this episode. I want to thank you so much for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. I really do appreciate that. It helps the channel grow. And of course, please try to go tell somebody about this channel. I'd really like it to grow. I'd really appreciate that. And of course, please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas. That both helps the channel, and I like talking with you. I really do. It does help me because I know I'm explaining a lot of things to a lot of people who already know it, but there are a lot of Americans who don't know other parts of the world well. There's a lot of Europeans I don't think know America super well either, so I'm trying to balance all that out, but getting feedback from you helps me gauge how much I should do of that, so it does help there too. So thanks so much. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.